and we're all back live again on the stream. So hi everyone. Can somebody say a word though? Because I'm not.
Hello.
There you
Hello.
go. I was like,
Yeah.
this is
We
like
were
the trick where
waving.
where you start talking but you don't actually say any words,
No.
just to make people believe that you're muted.
Should have stayed muted.
Damn it, Chansey.
Hello?
Should have stayed muted.
Is my mic
Hey,
okay?
hey, be nice to each other. You'll hate each other plenty later on. All right, then in that case, welcome back everyone to the final section of the Equinical, as you are all gathered together near Lord Storm, and you have chosen to approach the waiter that brought him the suspicious drink, at least suspicious according to Lady Rhaenyra, and Jean-Jacques' investigations. So, you interrupt him, and he stops, and he goes, "Yes, sir. How may I help you tonight?"
I hope by telling me who sent the drink that you brought to Lord Fennec. You see, the venerable lord would like to reciprocate and return the favor. So I'm interested to find out who sent it.
I'm very sorry, sir. That was a while ago, and I frankly I don't remember. We get a lot of requests for drinks for other people. It escapes me. I'm sorry.
Do I get the sense that they're entirely truthful or not?
Feel free to make an insight check.
Oh, nice. 14?
Let's see. Yeah, he's lying. He's not a very convincing liar either.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I'll
yeah.
just with still a smile on my face, I'll let a little bit of that true nature come through, hopefully in my general expression, like probably the picture that you made for me.
Okay.
Just stare real deep into his eyes, and I say, "Is it?" I say he because I'm an asshole. And I'm okay. So I'll look him deep in the eye and I'll say, "Listen, son, just tell me. It's gonna be much simpler for you."
Sir, I was asked not to divulge that information, but it was a gift of a nice drink. I don't see what the problem is here.
And now I'm asking you to divulge the information because there are circumstances that are beyond your pay grade and understanding. So you will now tell me.
Okay. Quick question before I ask for anything. Where are the other Ashen Hearts in relation to this? Are you guys holding back? Are you guys...
I'm next to Jean-Jacques.
Okay. So, in that case, please roll... I will say with that, and I'm assuming the rest are as well. Please roll Intimidation with advantage, as... Essentially, this is, the superhero lineup moment where, like, Jean-Jacques is demanding it, and all the others just cross their arms and stand in the back menacingly.
I do this pose and crack.
Okay.
Right. 23.
23. Jeez, alright. Please, calm down. It was Mr. Grundig. Mr. Grundig wanted to buy the Lord a drink. And that's all.
Which Mr. Grundig? Philip?
Yes, the loud one. He came back in a while ago and he said he wanted to make amends.
Good lad. And I slip him a gold piece.
He looks very confused for a moment, but immediately recovers. Thank you, sir. Puts it away, and the moment you take your attention off it, he's gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just look at Barnick, and I just look at him like, real people really need to, be more aware of who they can bullshit or not. It's quite disturbing, these young people wanting to. And there's kids those signs and walks off. It's like,
Kids these days.
he's up with the kids these days. It's like, fuck me, man. Just
Okay. All right.
So it was Philip Grundig.
correct. Now, I mean, the problem with this is that doesn't really tell us much other than Philip is just as much of an asshole that he seems to be. I mean, it is incriminating, considering all that's happened, but
if we could get him alone, you might be able to suggest that he, well, tells the truth around everyone else.
Yes, but you see, there's a small matter of that being quite risky. Because if I fail, for example, if we're detected, it can lead to quite an unpleasant situation. It's not the best idea to try and ensorcel members of the Grand Assembly, generally speaking.
And he
Because he's a member as well, right? He's not just, he's that actual member.
Yeah, he is an actual member.
Yeah.
He is in the Republican Reform Commission. Do we
Yes.
know anyone else from there that could help? I don't think we do.
You are a bit quiet, by the way, Barnack, I know, so don't worry about it,
Oh.
but just so you know, I don't know if your
Whoa,
mic
wait,
is
wait.
further away from your mouth.
Shouldn't be.
Okay.
Let me check.
No, that's much clearer.
Okay. We don't know anyone else from the same commission though.
Well, there's another way that we could go about this. Is you remember that silver tongue that you were asked to procure? Thankfully, I got one somehow lying in my pocket.
Can you show it, please?
No, that would be entirely inappropriate, Barnack. Come on, we're at an official event. Another
That's
time.
silver tongue.
Does it belong to that ring that speaks to you? Is that what you mean?
The ring also has a silver tongue, yes. But I don't have it on me. No, I'm saying,
Just taking another drink.
where is Philip right now?
Philip,
see
make another perception check. See if you can spot.
I'll
Philip,
turn to
really.
Barnack. Like, help me find the gentleman, please.
I
Or-
do need.
And I will try and help Barnack to find the gentleman
Okay.
by saying that, if I may.
Sure.
I'll if there's a chair, I'll just like gently climb on top of it so that I can see.
So Barnack kind of looks around and then decides, okay, I'll grab a chair. Probably have to pull it into the courtyard because like there's not actual chairs there, and then tries to climb on top of it.
I try and stop. I'm like, no, it's not. You can't climb up
I
on
don't
a chair,
see
Barnack.
from here.
I extend my arms.
Fuck it,
Like, want me to lift you?
Yes,
Yes.
I don't need a chair. You can just lift me. That's also good.
All right, make an athletic check, Tani.
I need perception check.
God's almighty, what have I done to deserve this ill
So
fate?
Barnack probably gets
I
lifted
try
like a
I try
toddler.
to grab him from his torso. Yeah.
All right, what was your athletics?
11.
Okay, so it kind of becomes more of you grabbing Barnack, and you get him like halfway. Then you realize Barnack is pretty damn heavy. So you're
Yeah,
you're about the height of an average human person now.
Perfect.
But it's not much higher than that.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay,
Okay.
so careful with those hands, Tani. And I'll then look
Go
around.
ahead and make
for
your perception
Philip
check.
Kundig.
I'll
With
say-
advantage.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys are both on.
We
the
don't want
lookout.
another deep-panting incident.
That's good. That's good. That is 21 in total.
21 in total. Okay. With a 21 in total, you spot, like, so just for your perception, right? You guys are in the courtyard, which is essentially this building that runs with corridors around a relatively open courtyard, in which the only notable feature is this statue in the middle. So you guys kind of get closer to the statue, not really super out in the open, but definitely where you can see the most around you, because around you there are many doors that are open to the courtyard as well, from all the offices that normally sit around here, which have all been open to each other as well to create this sort of space. And as you get lifted, you start to look around, and it's essentially Tani, you hold him up, and you have to just kind of twist around and turn as you're to give Barnack his field of view. And
Like a
Barnack,
lighthouse.
you spot Philip currently walking quietly, shoulder to shoulder, with Jean-Pierre Chopin.
Target acquired. He's with your cousin Jean-Jacques. He's there. Well, I won't point. He's there, where I'm looking right now. Annie,
Okay.
can you see him?
I look around from his torso like,
Yep.
uh-huh.
Okay, so yeah, let's follow him with our eyes. Jean-Jacques not maybe here.
Nicola, you still here?
Oh, he might have gone to pay the thing.
Oh, right. In any case, as you guys
Where
are
are they
watching,
headed?
well, they're actually just walking in the sort of, it's not a circle but more square, but they're walking in the, they're walking around the courtyard.
Yeah. Yeah, just walking and talking.
Yeah,
not
walking and
leaving.
talking and
That's
drinking.
important.
Philip seems to have calmed down from his earlier outburst that almost had him removed from the party entirely. And he seems to be in quite quiet conversation. In the background, you guys still hear occasionally Lord Fennec's voice rising to, challenge things unnecessarily loudly.
So, I don't know if we should approach both of them, but if we do, Tani, Jean-Pierre was very interested in talking to you. Well, at least at the party. Do you
Mhm.
think he wouldn't be interested in talking to you more? Although he looked like a sleazebag, so I don't want you to talk to him if you don't want to, of course. He was a... I mean, at least Jean-Jacques told me that he was a sleazebag, so...
Oh, he's definitely a sleazebag.
Oh.
For sure.
So, should we approach both of them, Jean-Jacques? Should we...
Saying hi be useful? Because we were at that dinner before. So maybe it would be courteous to say hi.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good opportunity to approach, especially since we don't know Philip. And my apologies for my absent-mindedness. There was a tray of food nearby that caught my attention. I think we could approach them. It's a decent enough opportunity. Just be mindful of what we're trying to achieve, right? My suggestion would be to disparage the Lord Storm and strike up our conversation that way, and rely
no
on the
direct
fact that we all
questions.
hate nobility. Yeah. One moment, there's another tray of food near.
Oh boy. All right.
So no direct questions? Perfect. Let's move. Let's move before they part ways, because then we wouldn't have any other reason to really go to Mr. Grundig or Philip. I don't know what he'll like to be called.
Okay. So you guys go and approach Mr. Philip Grundig and Jean-Pierre Chopin, the cousin of your very own Jean-Jacques. How do you want to open this conversation?
I'll let Jean-Jacques do that. He said he had a silver tongue in his pocket.
Okay. Yeah, this is slightly awkward because you're placing Jean-Jacques at the center.
And he's not. Yeah.
Yeah. That's okay.
Okay. No, it's fine. I'll then. Mr. Chopin.
He looks over, and you see him kind of almost affectionately put a hand out to stop Philip from walking, and he beckons him over, and you can see him already introducing you guys really quickly. You can see the names form on his lips, and as he comes closer, he says, "Ambassador Stoneheart, it is." Wait, no,
It is a
sorry.
pleasure.
Different voice. Ambassador Stoneheart, it is wonderful to meet you again. How are you doing this fine evening?
It's a pleasure to see you, sir, as well.
I have been practicing, and he holds on for a moment, and then he extends his hand,
Oh,
and
that
he waits
is
for you
very
to do
good.
the same. And then he takes your hand to shake.
Perfect form, I have to say, Mr. Chopin. Perfect form.
Wow, thank you very much. I am nothing if not very conscientious of other cultures, so I appreciate that you've made me
And
aware.
meticulous.
Of,
And meticulous, I have
why,
to
thank
say.
you, and of course the lovely Tani. Wonderful to see you again. And
And your
Wonderful
friend?
to be here.
yes, of course. My apologies, Philip. Please excuse me. These are the wonderful Ashen Hearts, if I recall correctly.
Yes.
This is my very good friend, Mr. Philip Grundig. Perhaps you are acquainted already, or is this your first time meeting? And you can see Philip takes a sort of more protective stance, folds his arms, doesn't look very eager for the conversation.
I don't believe we've ever had the pleasure. Sorry.
No, indeed, I don't believe that we have. Very nice to meet you. What brings you to our celebration tonight? I don't believe that we have freelancers here often.
Well, I
We were invited.
Yeah.
Okay.
At this point, Jean-Pierre kind of goes like, cousin, I thought you were a bit preoccupied with the food there, so I thought I would just leave you be, but very kind of you to join the conversation. How are you tonight?
I'm very well, my dear cousin, and yes, I was indeed. These prawn cocktails are absolutely to die for.
Oh, they are, aren't they? Just, so good.
Quite. I look at the Lord and bow to Philip. I say, we were invited by several members as associates.
Associates, so that is interesting. You must tell us more about that.
That's Philip or Jean-Pierre?
No, that is Jean-Pierre. Absolutely. Philip is like not taking part in the conversation as much.
Yeah. He gave him this fucking incredulous look, like, what the fuck are you doing?
You can see, like, just the most pleasant, carefree smile going as he just waits for you to bullshit your way out of this one.
Well, I just say, would be more than happy to share, but as you know, we do cherish the privacy of our clients and the freelancers, and it is one of the more, sought after parts of our business.
Of course. I suppose that's a very admirable thing to do. I hadn't really considered that so far. There's in these halls, privacy is a bit of wishful thinking. Isn't that right, Philip? And he kind of nudges Philip a little bit, and Philip just uncomfortably smiles, and just seems to try to want to escape the conversation. So as he gets nudged, he looks around, and you see him literally look at nothing, and he goes like, please excuse me, I need to have a quick conversation, and he begins to head off.
Was he looking at us with, like, hostility or just, like, awkwardness?
Make an insight check, actually.
Oh, 18.
Okay.
Yes, 18.
The best that you can make of it is that he is a man who was in a private conversation that was interrupted, and unlike Jean-Pierre, he is not hiding it very well.
Okay. Well, Does anybody else have an idea? Or should I?
Well, Mr. Jean-Pierre, and I'll look at Jean-Jacques, like, for a moment, with one of my eyes going left.
Oh, God.
Not the eye again.
All right.
Mr. Chopin, have you heard about the recent terrible attack on the well, at least the rumors are saying that someone attacked Lord Storm?
I have heard these rumors, yes. Quite troubling. And I will say, in this moment, all of you very notice, because he's not trying to hide it. He looks to Jean-Jacques and just, like, raises his eyebrows real quick and just like he's trying to convey a secret. or that he expects Jean-Jacques to understand at least. So he just kind of looks at JJ and he goes,
Like is that like I
you
know
can
who
interpret
did it
that
look?
however you want to interpret
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. I lean in towards him and say, well, I can't, I can't say that I'm surprised considering his political leanings.
Indeed, he is quite a troublesome little fella, and I would say he has the potential to become big trouble quite soon if whoever stands against him doesn't move quickly enough.
Did Philip leave?
Yeah, Philip
Or
walked
is he-
away. Like
Oh,
he's not
fuck.
in this conversation. No, he the soonest opportunity he got, he left. He didn't want to be in the conversation anymore.
I kind of look at him and be like, yes, indeed. I'm sure that person must have quite a gripe with him to send such individuals.
Quite a gripe? Oh, I don't know. Seems, from what I heard, that it was business as usual in some circles of our great assembly. So I don't know that it was really that uncommon, or speaking of any large personal disagreements. Simply the nature of business in our republic, I would say. Or you would
I
disagree.
kind of look. Oh, well, I'm sure that you know better than I do, dear cousin. I am but a visitor here, and I look after the guy, and you have many friends in many places.
I do indeed. That is the nature of my job on behalf of our family, dear cousin.
Of course. I also just wanted to say it's such a shame to see Mr. Atticus Hope in such poor behavior tonight.
You see him just light up, and he says, "Oh yes, absolutely terrible to see what has become of the man. I think it's a tragedy, frankly, and I can only wish
Indeed.
him well. But it seems that he has behaved in such an atrocious manner that it will be quite easy to make the case that he should not be in any particularly important places or positions for the near future, until, of course, he recovers his wits and is quite himself again."
Of course. But I'm sure that somebody better is waiting in the wings, ready to do what's best for the Republic.
Undoubtedly. I mean, you yourself are one of these people who are always ready to help the Republic, and there are hundreds, if not thousands of them ready in our great capital to ensure that all the wheels of government run smoothly.
Of course, dear cousin.
He kind of, takes a moment and lets the silence fall, and then just leans forward and he says, "Well done, by the way."
Thank you. Good luck.
And you as well.
I hate JJ's cousin.
Yeah, I saw that, Chansey.
He's the worst.
All right. Well then, I wish you all a lovely evening. I believe it's time for me to retire, so I wish you a good night. And he, makes a slight bow to the group as a whole, and then just starts heading off. Clearly having no intention of actually leaving, but he's just kind of relaxing and talking with people. Quite chill.
Where did Philip Grundig go?
He tried to get out of sight ASAP. So you saw him cross part of the courtyard and then dip through another door out of sight.
We need to corner that one.
Yes, I think that my cousin tried to tell me that it is either Philip or my cousin that did this, so.
He didn't seem surprised at all.
Well, one thing that you find out is that, well, it's not really surprising.
Oh yeah, Lord Storm was screaming that, but yeah, he was familiar with it.
Oh, no, I mean, it's quite common for these types of things to happen in the political battlefield.
True, but Jean-Jacques, If I remember correctly, and there might be some alcohol in me, so it might not be letting me remember correctly, but the ones that attacked Lord Storm, they were connected to our other target, weren't they?
Well,
So whoever...
the serious motherfucker.
Yes. Let's call it that, yes.
Sure.
I totally fucked up a word there, but never mind. Yeah. Well, all of the potential allies that you would want in this type of endeavor are pretty much connected to that other target now.
Which means that one of these two might know who that other target is.
Well, not necessarily.
But maybe.
Like you were a citizen of the Republic, it doesn't necessarily mean that you know the Grand Pensionary personally. Quite the opposite, really. You had no fucking clue who they were.
True, but I'm not an actual citizen of the Republic yet.
Yeah, you are.
What?
Yeah, I am. But that doesn't matter. What matters is maybe they still... I mean, that's a slim chance, but we should take it. But we can't really do it in the open. I don't know. I need a drink. Yeah, this is your thing, Jean-Jacques. Go talk to whoever you want. Oh, also. And I hand him 2 pieces of papers. You can use this if you need to, like to intimidate someone or something.
I take a look at the pieces of paper.
That's my plan B, by the way. So.
Turnock tries to actually reach out and stop you from handing it off, but then he just kind of backs off. And Jean-Jacques, you do indeed see 2 pieces of paper which have written on them, Barnack.
Scarlet Rose sends their regards.
I just really quickly look at it like, what the blind? and I like crumple them up and then just shoot like a localized flame bolt in my hand. Just burn this to a crisp, or would that be too obvious?
No, I think you could do it if you also incur the damage yourself. Like,
yeah, I'll take the dab. Ooh,
okay.
Wait.
No, I mean
No,
it's not going to be the full damage. It's going to be like.
Oh, okay.
So you take 1 point of damage as you just like
Okay.
hold it in your hand, and you guys, those of you closest, do see like a brief flash of fire out of his hand, just like a little bit, and then just a tiny bit of smoke that curls up. And then when you open your hand, there's just burnt paper, which obviously has burnt your hand as well.
Jean-Jacques, why did you do
What
that? What the hell is wrong with you? That's
What?
Turnock just
What
goes.
the fuck are you doing?
Turnock
lost
just goes.
4
He
of
has
them.
more.
Yeah, we lost
No.
4 of them to our members.
How many do you have? You, what the?
I'm not telling.
Please don't, because it's better if I don't know.
Another 50.
What? 50.
I wanted to slip a few of them to people.
To 50 fucking people?
No,
Why'd you make 50?
doesn't matter. Go. Yes, I don't know. Do you want another piece just to have it? As
No.
Plan?
No, absolutely fucking not.
Okay,
No.
they're staying with me then.
Okay. I think that we might be pushing our luck if we push too many buttons in this event. So I think that we should wrap our business up
That's true.
and consider this not a success. I can tell you that it has been a success with regard to other business.
Well, it was also a success because we have narrowed it down to 2 people.
Yeah, we
tell that
confirmed
to
they are
Lord-
suspicious.
Yeah, we can tell that to Lord Storm. We can also tell him who it wasn't. And I mean, he is a lord. He should have more authority and help there.
And we can tell him who it was who sent the spiked drink to him.
That too.
Which
I
I
mean,
think we
all
can
of it.
consider evidence that at least there is a significant amount of animosity. Of course, it would be best if we were to procure more evidence, but remind me, Kevin, we were like he wanted a clue, right? It wasn't necessarily like you need to
No, it
confirm this
wasn't
100 million
expose this
percent.
person at the Equinical. It was talk
Yeah.
with people and find out what they think, what they're saying, and
Yeah.
whether any of them are particularly likely to have been the culprits behind the attacks on me and my family.
Yeah.
So yeah, by that standard, I would say that you've definitely achieved what you're looking for here.
Does that mean that I can get pissed now completely
Well-
and then we leave?
Yeah, I think you can definitely get super drunk, but just don't get paradise drunk. You remember what happened that time, and we don't want to do that.
We don't talk about that one.
Yep.
We don't talk about that one. I'll go
Or
get drunk.
Edeah. Or maybe not that one either, okay? Just like regular drunk.
Regular drunk is
Let's not open weird boxes.
no. Tani,
Just look at Tani with like a deadpan face. Just say, you have no idea, Tani.
Okay. So, what is the plan going forward here? Do you guys want to stay at the Equinical for a particular reason, or do you want to sort of move forward to pass the Equinical and see where that goes?
I would like to get a bit drunk and
Mhm.
also keep an eye on Lord Storm as he leaves, so that nothing happens to him as he's leaving.
Okay.
Maybe even just board his carriage if I can, like just ask him to go with
Yeah,
me.
I mean, you guys can go back with them if you like, and get them
Yes.
back to the manor
Yeah.
altogether.
Just
Yes.
to make sure, yeah.
Okay.
I'd just like to do two more things at the Equinical. One is just briefly pass by Elena or try to grab her in her meanderings through the crowd and just say, thank you for the conversation tonight. I believe that we should converse on the morrow when you have some time.
She will say to you that she agrees, and that you should come by her house in the morning before noon.
Okay. Great. And then the second one is just like, moving through the crowd. I will, for a brief moment, pass through the eyesight of Esme if she's there,
Okay.
and just give her one look and then move on.
Okay. Interesting. Let me see here. As Jean-Jacques does so, the final steps before you guys leave with Lord Storm, you catch Esme's eye, and immediately you can see she looks kind of bashful, shy almost, very young all of a sudden, and very much like the woman that you used to know, almost immediately. Like it's kind of catapulted her backwards in time. And you leave her, obviously, looking flushed as you move on. But definitely not any hints of the confident deal maker that you saw earlier in the day.
Yeah.
Or in the night, actually.
Interesting.
As we're leaving, I will turn to Jean-Jacques and say, "Oh, by the way, good thing that you. Well, did you take our stuff from the office?"
No. It's there.
How do we get it?
But I believe that Lady Elena would take care of that for us.
You've thought of everything. I'm going to go.
Well, to see, Barney, that's why you keep me around.
Fair enough. All right. So you guys set out with Lord and Lady Storm for the manor, passing back through all of the security checkpoints. You see a number of important people either, still drinking and having a good time, or some of them actually leaving as well. And you see a whole just line of carriages out in front of the Solidariat waiting to take people to wherever they need to go. You climb aboard, and Fennec is still kind of ranting and raving. He's starting to get a little tired, but he's still ranting and raving about, the various flaws, but also his crown-minded loyalties and the fact that he would still sees the Republic being better off if it returns to being a kingdom, and he starts this whole rant about, I don't want to be king, I just think that somebody should be, and that sort of thing. Really his conservatism kind of on full display here. And it turns into quite an awkward night as Rhaenyra is trying to calm him down, and the rest of you are riding with them, kind of cramped also, just to make sure that you can all ride together. But you do manage to make it back to the manor. No dead guards or anything like that, so you are quite safe as you return to Storm Manor in the Catstye district and can retire for the night or discuss a little bit before you retire. But I presume that most of the meaningful conversation will probably occur in the morning as you guys have some time to talk over breakfast and get your bearing on everything.
Just a quick retrospect question. While we were boarding the carriages, you said that there were other carriages nearby, right?
Yeah.
Could we see anyone we thought was important boarding any other carriage?
Yeah, absolutely. You could see several people. You could see the Empire ambassadors, the Duke and the Duchess, both departing in one quite a ways away from you, like further down the line.
Yeah, one that's very close to us.
One that was really close to you.
Yeah.
I would say you could probably see the carriage of one tiefling. That you're not sure which tiefling it is necessarily. There are a couple of prominent ones, but definitely one that was described to you. Unless you want someone that's specific to the list that Lord Fennec gave
I
you.
I was hoping to catch Philip Grundig or someone else close to us.
Oh no, it's unfortunately
some
that's
of those papers into their carriage.
Unfortunately, that's quite specific. You would have to have timed your leaving with them,
but no, I
which
didn't.
Unfortunately doesn't quite work.
And I'm
out.
too drunk for that now, anyway.
That makes sense. All right, so return to the manor. You guys have time in the night to rest and recover at least your wits, if not your strength, since you did have to deal with a lot of things. But sadly, also you return to sleep without your friend Kor by your side for the first time in a long time, for many of you, and perhaps uneasy dreams. At least the night is cold, and throughout the night, several of you at various points wake up, hearing strange sounds outside, thinking perhaps back to that night where the creature arrived, but nothing happens, nothing growls, nothing wants anything of you. And you make it to the morning, early morning, well before actually Lord Fennec awakens himself. Only the Lady Rhaenyra is awake, and she says that he is quite a heavy sleeper at the moment, and it seems that whatever he was spiked with, presumably this Lecaspore poison, has definitely knocked him out good for a while. The poor man doesn't seem to be catching any breaks anytime soon, but she will make sure that you guys have your food and drink and that sort of thing. Geez, sorry. Before she returns to the chamber to attend to her husband. So the four of you sit at breakfast, perhaps quietly at first, considering what's happened the previous night and maybe chatting a little bit, when there is a distinct knock at the door. One of the guards opens it up, and there, and perhaps Chansey, you would like to describe yourself as you stand in the doorway.
So you see human, dark brown hair, heterochromatic eyes, one green, one blue, scarred up, but not like overtly damaged. Wearing what kind of armor do I actually have? Some kind of armor, breastplate.
Yeah.
Shield, mace on my side, and a cloak, and you can see like a amulet hanging underneath the breastplate.
Yeah, and you know why you've been sent here, but for Chansey and for the character's perspective, as you guys sit at the table, and maybe also just nice to have a bit of a recap. Let's each of us describe ourselves. I'll do Turnock for him. But Tani, maybe you would like to start. What does Tani look like as she's sitting at the breakfast table?
Okay, she's a half orc, so she's tallish, muscular, greenish, Not as dirty as normal because she had to get ready for the clinical recently. She's donning. She's back to her normal clothes, which is a sort of tabard-looking thing, like going over her pants, very loose. Um, yeah, very loose pants. Nothing special about her shoes. Very lightweight. She does have some markings in her arms. One of them is like a black inky animal-y thing, which she acquired recently, but she also has some scarring, some tattooing, like orcish symbols that she could have picked up here and there. Um, what else? Messy hair. Really not as messy as before, because again, she had to get ready. But normally she doesn't tend to comb it. She prefers it being messy. Um, and um, she she usually likes it away from her face, but and not like I am right now with my hair in front of me, but always has it behind her back, and I think that's
Okay.
well, brownish eyes, nothing very special. Orcish fangs peeking through. Yep, that's it.
All right. So yeah, Tani, and despite the way that she's changed, it is also similar to what you recognize, Chansey. Next up, Jean-Jacques.
Sure, yeah. So Jean-Jacques half elf, kind of medium height, lean, but slightly muscular build, so toned. He's currently probably like has a just a white simple shirt that's probably like unbuttoned a little bit, and some dark pants, slippers or something on. He's a very handsome guy. Has slightly but very slightly pointed ears. There's some traces of elven heritage there, but it's very faint. Um, his features are kind of angular and go between like quite severe and kind of like um, more exotic, I guess. Has aquamarine kind of green blue eyes and blonde hair that's almost white, that he puts up in like I didn't even try, this is just how my hair normally looks kind of hair that you instinctively know took him at least 15 minutes in the morning to put like that, but it looks effortless. And he's kind of like looking at you with curiosity and like tilted head.
All right. Barnack, how about you? Barnack, I don't hear you at the moment.
You do now.
Yes.
Yeah. So as the doors open in front of you, you see also a dwarf sitting down, currently holding his head in his hands, probably because he's hungover or something. He has a bald head and a rather short silver beard, although it seems like he's trying to grow it longer, at least from what you see. His face features are distinctly... He seems like a nice grandpa, basically. But at the same time, as the doors open up, he stands up, and he's not a chubby dwarf at all. He's actually a muscular dwarf, although he is quite short. He has I actually forgot what he has. I think he has a leather armor on. He has leather armor on, and yeah, he's currently holding one glass, but it seems like water, which is very unfortunate for him, but it needs to be water. And distinctly, as you open the door, one of his eyes just moves. His left eye just moves a bit to the left.
All right.
Only his left eye, though.
And next to them, sitting, is also a dragonborn, a white dragonborn of, I would say, indeterminate age, just because the race is so different than anyone else here that it's probably harder to determine. But definitely white, very muscular in his own right, and very quite tall as well. Just kind of probably just leaning over and eating at his breakfast thoughtfully. I think Turnok's been pretty thoughtful so far. The most notable thing is that he has something akin to sort of dreadlocks, sort of part of him that sticks out and is bound together behind. And he probably wears already part of his quite heavy, I think, scale mail armor that he has, if I'm correct. But in any case, it's this blackish armor that is very, very well made. And he probably wears like part of it already, but just enough that he can still sit comfortably at the table without needing to, without needing to sit uncomfortably for most of the time. And all of them just kind of look up at you as you enter. And so, Chansey, you know why your character has been sent here, but the rest is up to you regarding introductions. I will say, Tani, as you look at the door, there is a familiar face. It's different. Years have painted themselves onto it just like they have with you, but it is a familiar face.
Myra? I sort of want to stand up. I'll recognize those eyes anywhere.
Hi. It's been very long.
I didn't think I'd see you. I haven't seen you in years. What are you doing here over at Lord Fennec's house?
Looking for you guys, actually.
Hello?
Okay, come closer.
Hello?
Yeah, like
Guys.
still outside. I don't want to like walk.
Hey,
Okay.
guys.
Are we getting arrested?
Oh no. Maybe? No. No, definitely not. I'll like probably pull out like whatever piece of paper I have with my instructions.
Right. Yeah.
And go
and-
over them. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely not arrested.
Yeah. In fact, you do have among those instructions, you find maybe just now because you maybe were a bit preoccupied with introductions and that sort of thing. You find official like notice of your transfer into a particular group here.
I'll pull that out too. Like
Alright.
I'll like start handing it to Hani, like not knowing who's like group leader.
So by the way, Myra, you have been given inspiration thanks to the chat. So we are currently, I should have probably told you this sooner, but we have up to 3 points of inspiration that you can gather. And I'll explain more of the rules later, but feel free to add one. In any case, as she hands over this piece of paper, you see it is official freelancer paperwork, and it states that her name, Myra Irwood, has been transferred to the Ashen Hearts, pending approval of its leader, but with recommendations to join you, and with all due haste in light of the developments last night at the Equinical.
Is it from
Recommendations
Taskmaster
from-
Silver?
Yes, it is.
No, bye.
I look at the paper and
Start crying.
Myra.
Okay, I know her. She's from my time when I visited Stormcrow over at Finn's. I knew her. Well, I know her. I know those eyes.
I was gonna send a message, but I didn't know what was going on. The travel. I didn't want to waste any spell slots. You know how it is.
Okay. So we have to approve. Myra, would you kill an innocent person?
If they're innocent, no.
Fair
But
enough.
if they're
Good
guilty,
enough for me.
they should go to jail.
Excellent deduction skills, Barnack.
Thank you.
Real- Real tough questions. Leading the witness.
Okay, let me try again. Myra, would you pee on a corpse?
Is there any other? No. Why? Why?
That's a bad answer there.
Turnok just looks
Oh, yeah.
perplexed at everything.
Now
Is it
perhaps
on
Yeah.
fire and there's no water around? Like,
That's clever thinking, and that's thinking like me.
I don't know if that's a good thing.
Tarnok is just shaking his head in the background, like, no, it's not.
Okay. But yeah, if this is Jean-Jacques, Tarnok, Tani, this is from Taskmaster Silver. Myra, we kind of, I won't say lost, but we departed with a friend yesterday. And
That was worse, just as an FYI.
that is worse.
Did
How
you-
do I
did
say
you-
it? That's not worse.
Did you ask to join us because you've heard about us, or was it Taskmaster Silver?
Now I'm reading my notes.
I will say there's probably some level of flexibility there as well. So if you want to say, like, you know, that you pointed out that, hey, Tani's there, maybe I can join them.
Okay.
That is definitely viable.
Yeah. I'm just, like looking through my like contract stuff. Like even I don't remember. I made the suggestion. But you know, I guess they have the final decision. But
Like Jean-Jacques made a suggestion. It's kind of-
Now, if I may, glorious leader, Mara, would you mind telling us a little bit about what it is that you do? I think that will make it an easier decision for Barnack to be well informed.
I can say she's a fellow freelancer, even back then.
Okay.
Are you a freelancer from here, from Postizia, or from some other place?
reading all my stuff. I
I'm
believe
giving you a
yes.
lot of notes. I'm also
Yes.
happy to
Yeah.
clarify. But in this case, so your hometown is indeed here, the capital. But every freelancer, and I would probably Barnack also knows this. Every freelancer trains in Watchhold for a year.
So every freelancer.
Every
trains in
freelancer
Watchhold.
trains in
Okay.
Watchhold for
Do
a
do
year.
I remember her at all?
No.
Okay.
Wasn't in your batch at least.
Mm-hmm.
And you're one of the latest batches, so she's probably been a
Yeah.
freelancer a little longer than you guys.
That's. How long were you a freelancer?
No, and I know I have the notes for this. I just have to read it. Why there's so many notes?
That's
Just to
fair.
clarify for anyone watching, I gave her 3 pages full of information. So
3 pages? I thought it was like 4.
or 4, I don't even remember. But it's a lot of information. It's not like, you know, it's a lot of fluff. No, it's all information. So
No, honey, like 2 to 3 years ago. So for close to 3 years.
2 to 3 years ago.
yeah, it depends on how you want to count that time, based on, you know, the event that occurred in your background.
Mm-hmm.
So I leave that up to you.
I'll continue to count it.
Okay.
So like 3 years.
That just goes to
I-
shows we ask good questions.
Tani, can you please help our guest sit down, maybe bring some water? I just need to ask Jean-Jacques something. Nothing with you, Myra, of course. Just a moment.
Oh yes, yes.
Oh,
I
of
grab
course.
her like sort of. I hug her real fast, and then just grab her and grab her by the shoulders and guide her. And don't worry, they're nice people. They're gonna accept you.
They're asking a lot of questions.
Yeah, that's just our leader. That's how he is.
He's the leader.
Oh yeah. He's great. You'll get to know him. Yes.
He's great.
All right.
Aw,
So
Tani.
as Tani guides Myra to the table, Barnack, you have a moment to confer with Jean-Jacques quietly.
Jean-Jacques,
Hmm.
I would like to have her on our team, and it doesn't matter what she can do.
Okay.
She might be able to also help me with what I am, with answers that I'm searching for.
I see. You were thinking because she's been with the freelancers longer.
Yes,
Good.
I was
Good.
thinking.
I am quite surprised at that fact alone. So, in my wonderment, I am inclined to 100% agree with you based off of that fact alone.
But
Don't spoil it. Just
Darn it.
Radha. No, I'm kidding. Of course. What did you want to say? Ha.
Ha! Nothing. That's enough for me then.
Okay.
I'll go put my signature down. I don't have a pen. I'll go ask Lady Rhaenyra for a pen. And
Okay.
I go actually into their room to ask for a pen.
Okay.
I just hold a pen behind him, like I got. Doesn't matter.
Right. But yeah, no, you can easily acquire the fountain pen and ink that
Yeah.
would be commonly used here. And sign your name to the document that will officially make Myra one of the Ashenhearts. So it's all pretty easily done as Barnack emerges once again and places his signature. And with that, immediately, Myra, you have found your new place in a new group, which might feel a little strange, but they are currently having their breakfast. You can join them for it, and perhaps ask each other some more questions, I suppose. But I am especially interested in what the Ashenhearts plan to do next as well. So,
Well, I think we need to wait for Lord Fennec to wake up to do the what's it called? The burying?
Debriefing.
Debriefing. That's right. We need to do that. And
Lady Elena suggested that we come by in the morning, so if Lord Fennec seems like he might not wake up anytime soon, I think we should go about our business and then return.
Good Becker, haversack.
that's
Right.
also true. The only thing is that I don't trust your cousin, and I don't trust that he will.
Whatever for,
would-
he's such a decent gentleman.
But you said he wasn't.
I know, it was sarcasm, Barnick. He's the worst.
Still can't get sarcasm. It's okay. Do you think he would attack Lord Fennec again right now after the Equinical?
What? I mean, I know.
Well, sorry, not him. Someone.
Right. I would doubt it. It's I think a little bit risky to do it right after, so soon, as it's still got the attention of the Black Hats on it.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't.
I don't think he'd be so obvious. He wouldn't be above doing so, but I
No,
was
it's not
thinking,
about above. It's just an unwise thing to do.
Yeah. He did ask us to ruin the image of Atticus Hope, and he could have asked us to ruin Lord Fennec Storm's image as well. Now that he was at it, right?
That's also true.
Yes, but it's I think less with Lord Storm. It's less about his image, because if you think about it, the gentleman Atticus Hope, he received his appointment as a privilege. Lord Storm is a member of the assembly that's being assigned to a particular, let's say, committee, right? So it's less about, I guess, privilege and more about a job. He would have to be disparaged quite heavily and repeatedly for him to be.
as you guys are
ejected from the
talking,
assembly.
a note is placed on the table by one of the guards, and he will quietly tell whoever's sitting closest this was just delivered by a messenger boy.
Okay.
And he leaves. The note has
If
been
I'm-
revealed in your handouts.
If I'm the one still sitting at the table, can I take it without
Probably you could be the first one to read it.
Yeah, definitely do.
So Myra ends up being the first one to take the note and read its contents out loud, I suppose, to the party.
I probably read it silently first, and then go, "Hey, you got a note," and then start reading it out loud.
Oh,
So yeah, go ahead and read it out loud for the stream as well.
okay. So I take the note. This is interesting. Allow me to read it. word by word. You allowed me to live when we attacked you, so now I am repaying the favor. Argyle plans to burn down the Stormcrow Tavern tomorrow. If you want to stop him, he is in hiding at a warehouse in Cat's-Eye along the southern wall. Tenebrin Lane, 3742. I don't know how long he'll be there. Good luck.
We spared his life, and that's what he wants to do?
I think this is one of the other people whom we spared. Oh, you mean no?
Yeah,
right.
I mean Argyle. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah. I mean, I told you he was going to do that. Something of that nature. It took how much? Is it 2 days? Was that 100%
Tomorrow
right?
morning.
Pretty much, yeah.
Quite accurate in my estimates of how quickly the judicial system moves when needed. Told you we should have killed him.
Well,
We thought you were gonna, actually, and we had a crisis. And then, for some reason, when we returned, he was still alive, so we never questioned you.
we never asked you why we did leave for that to happen specifically.
Well, doesn't matter either way now.
I will say that at this point, probably Turnock has a brief moment to interject just in this whole conversation happening in the first place, and he just kind of not really nonchalantly gestures for Myra, and he just goes like, maybe don't talk about the willing murder of people that you were planning in front of the new people that we have on board.
As he does this and looks at her, we're not killing her.
You just see it like,
No, we're not.
No, we're not, Turnock.
never mind. And
Myra probably like eating breakfast finally this morning is like half paying attention to this conversation. Like, who are you killing?
Not you. But then Turnock will probably also add. I'm adding this, but he will say to you, Myra, I'm really sorry. And then he just goes back to eating.
Oh, and we do have to tell her at some point what we're talking about. What happened. I trust her.
Danny, do you really trust her?
Well, I have good memories. I don't know what she's been up to, which we could ask her. And why am I talking if she's not here?
Yeah, why?
Is it strange that they're talking about you as if you're
yeah,
not here?
I'm just like
Yeah.
staring in between, like,
They do this sometimes.
and he's the leader.
I am the leader, yes. Sorry. I am the wise. I'm actually also a king and an ambassador, just so you know.
Oh, weird.
Insight
Of a
check
ledge.
that?
Go ahead.
Yeah, you
Roll insight and Barnack rolled deception.
Well, it's more of persuasion, really, because he's convinced about it.
Nah, it's still deception.
I think it's +0 for me, if I'm right.
19 for me.
Nope, 17 for me.
Yeah, that's
You know that I'm not an ambassador.
he seems
was
to
a lie.
believe it though, to a certain degree.
Okay.
Like there's a weird level of self like lying to himself involved in the whole process, I would imagine.
Ledge king, or rather a king though, I'm 100% sure that that's true. Some form of king.
Barnack.
So you plan on taking care of that threat to burn down an inn?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, right.
We are not gonna
Shit.
let
Well,
Finn's tavern burn down. Please.
No.
Yeah, 'cause that would be really mean.
Yeah.
And maybe Barnack would get to use his peeing on dead people if they're on fire there.
We're keeping this one.
Now,
Welcome to the
if I-
team, Myra.
Yep.
And this time, Finn might say everything's okay, but no, please, let's help. I know you guys told me not to tell him everything, and I haven't. Just the important bits about me, but he's important to me, and the tavern's important to me.
I
And
place a hand on
he
on
likely protest. Maybe he'll say everything's fine, but no, this time it's not fine. Okay, I'm done.
Tani, you don't have to ask us. We're doing this for you, and for us, and for Finn.
I
We
mean,
are interjecting this time. Although I don't want to receive one of those Finn's actual knockout hits. He seemed to be pretty strong. So if we interject, I'll be a bit further away with my bow. If he charges me, it's on you, Tani.
Why would he? If anything, he'd charge Argyle if he shows up.
Well, true. We'll see, though.
I
Now-
know you just joined as you just signed the paperwork, but I know Finn, and we have an address to where that person is. I could just let Finn know the tavern's in danger, and then we don't have to personally stop by at all.
And you have confidence that Finn could go and clear out this nest of thieves himself?
I mean, do thieves really want to be burned alive?
I mean, I do get a sense that Finn's more than he seems, but that's an awful lot of confidence.
Wait, but we are in the freaking capital of the Republic. Why don't we also go to and get a few guards?
Well, there's no real evidence to suggest that anything's going on. We just got
There's
a note
evidence
from.
that someone broke out of jail or was let out of jail.
Oh, I don't think that was unlawful.
They could be in on it even. We wouldn't
darn it.
know.
Oh.
I mean, at least giving him a heads up knowing the tavern's in danger.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think that's a good idea because I think
Yeah.
we could do one of two things here. We could either go and pay Argyle a visit, which I really would like tremendously, or we could go to the tavern and lay in wait and give him a pleasant surprise when he stops by.
That
Would he need to go inside to set the place ablaze?
Probably not.
If Cor
But-
was here, he would have summoned his mastiff.
please don't mention that dog.
I miss him already. Cor, I mean.
Yeah.
Well, the mastiff too.
All right. So, what is the plan gonna be here? How are you guys gonna tackle what comes next?
Well, we need to also go to Elena Sortenbrand's. And it's now. Right? It's the morning.
Yeah, I just suggest that we do a whole how the tables have turned thing, where we attack him over there in the middle of the night, and be like, "Haha, you're doing to you what you tried to do to us," or we go to Finn and we set up over there and we defend the tavern.
I like the poetry in haha, we are doing to you what you did to us.
You don't try to teach us a lesson.
Wait,
That'll
Barnack, you
teach
like
you to
poetry?
teach us a lesson.
Sorry, what did you
What
say,
did
Mara?
you say, Myra?
I said, Barnack, you like poetry, and I'll pull out my poetry book.
I do. I sometimes.
This is gonna be good.
Do you write poetry?
No, I just read it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Writing's
Well,
not very easy for me.
okay. Well, once we have time, I would like to read it.
Okay. And I'll just like show it back into my bag.
All right.
So Elena Sordenbrand
Okay.
first then to get her
Uh-huh.
stuff.
And I do like the idea of surprising Argyle and sending a note to Finn. Like,
Yeah,
we could
sending a message
both.
to Finn now immediately would be a very good thing.
So let's start with that.
Yes. Myra,
Yes.
you said
but-
you have a way to contact Finn right now.
Yeah. I can do it right now. And I'll start
can-
casting sending.
Okay.
You can tell him where Argyle's hiding in case he wants
Pulling
to.
out the big guns.
No, don't tell him that where Argyle's where he is, because we want to surprise him in the night. We don't want Finn to go there before that. I really like that poetry.
Oh, that's true. That's true. See, he's a leader for a reason. Don't do that then.
All right.
Hey, Finn, it's Myra. Been a while. Um, someone
Been a while.
plans to burn your tavern down soon,
Okay. That's where you want to leave it.
and I'll say
add
Ashenheart
tomorrow.
say hi.
Argyle.
to-
Argyle.
Argyle wants to burn it tomorrow.
Argyle, tomorrow burn.
Okay.
I think I'm like out of words.
So you get to the ending and they're just interjecting stuff. So you're just trying like, Argyle, tomorrow, burn. You just get an emotion back first, which is confusion, from Finn, and then he goes, Myra, it's good to hear from you again. Thanks for the warning. Come by soon. And that's it. So you might even be a little surprised because you've probably not messaged Finn before. That he seems quite well versed in usage of the spell. Like he immediately recognizes his limited number, which suggests that he's not that he's used it before. All right, so Finn has been informed. I guess that's finished. Everyone gets negative inspiration. In the meantime,
finished.
from what I gathered, you guys had planned to set off for the cross for Lady Elena Sordenbrand's house, correct?
I guess we just check with Lady Rhaenyra if the Lord's not up, and if she thinks he's going to be a
still
while.
out.
Well,
You hear him in his sleep still kind of talking and like moving and thrashing through the door, and she confirms that he is not yet available.
So I'm going to storm out of the house and.
All right.
Storm out.
Very nice. I don't know why you're storming because you have no reason to be angry. No, but that's
Exit
good.
the world.
Okay, teenage Jean-Jacques.
Teenage angst.
So you guys set out, and it is still icy cold. The wind is still blowing in cold as well, and there is still a now frozen layer of snow in most places. So the streets are kind of caked with mostly just really dirty and broken up snow. In some places, ice, but beyond that, everything is still covered in this white blanket. That it's both beautiful but also terrifyingly cold. As you guys set out through the city, everyone is, has already woken up. The city starts early, and you make it easily enough to Lady Sordenbrand's mansion, or, well, not mansion, it's really more of a very tall, sort of brownstone house, like they have in New York. And you're admitted by the same servant, in fact, that you had seen previously, Jean-Jacques, but this time with the whole party, and you are led to a study in which you find Lady Elena Sordenbrand, and you also find a red-skinned tiefling. At first, you might have a moment of concern, thinking it looks a little bit like Lord or like Robert Mortimer, but then he turns around and it's a much younger face, and it's definitely distinctly just tiefling, not any of the malformities that Mortimer has. And
Kenrath.
No. It looks like someone from the assembly as well. And in fact, it's a vaguely familiar face, as you've seen them last night as well. So for those of you who wish, you can make a history check to see if you can remember who it was.
It's wit quickly.
I hope it's wit quickly.
16.
All right, 16.
2. Wait, history. 5.
5. All right. So Barnack, you have no idea. The rest of you don't remember, but Jean-Jacques, you remember. This is Red de Klerk. He is a member of the assembly and has his own important position, but you can see here that he is alone with the Lady Elena, and they seem to have been waiting for you in some capacity. They interrupt their conversation when you arrive, obviously, so it's not like they were just waiting, but there's definitely a sort of conspiracy to meet with you in this fashion. And as you enter, you see immediately from Elena a look of concern as she notes that there's a new member among your group. And with a flick of her wrist, the door closes behind you, actually, and she looks all of you over, stands up, And Red actually goes over to the window nearby and just looks out over the street, keeps his back to you, and you can see even Elena has a sort of deference towards him. Not that he is very much higher in the order of things, but more that he is not familiar with the situation and he has a similar rank to hers. As she looks over all of you, she beckons you closer a little bit, and lowering her voice, she says, "Welcome. May I ask who your new companion is?"
Well, thank you, Lady Sortenbrand. As you know, we recently were devoid of one of our companions, and the company has sent us reinforcement. This is Myra. Myra.
Myra.
Okay. Point towards Myra, indicating that, she should.
Okay. Lady Elena kind of straightens up a bit, and she goes over to Myra, and she extends a hand to you. Do you take it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll shake her hand a little too forcefully.
Do you does Myra wear gloves?
She probably has the
Okay.
bracers on, but
So you probably feel a surprisingly firm handshake coming back at you, but she holds your hand as well, even once you're done. Like after the perfunctory one or two, she holds onto it and she looks right into your eyes. She says, "Where are you from, Myra?"
I'm from the city. Setsia.
How long have you been a freelancer?
Almost 3 years. Most of that.
Should I have any reason to mistrust you?
I'd hope you wouldn't have a reason to mistrust me ever.
So then I can assume that, as these are proven, you will be faithful, loyal, and that I can trust that everything that goes on between us remains between us.
Yes.
Okay. Roll a persuasion check.
If I may, as they say,
Immediately as you go, if I may, the finger comes up, like literally the finger, that finger comes up, like.
I was so scared because it's a 15 because I get -1, but
Okay.
it was going to be like a 6 and rolled. It was a 16.
Okay, 16 is good.
So it's a 15 total.
All right, so she holds on, and there's just this good 10 seconds. She has the finger up for Tani. She just searches Myra's eyes, and then releases the hand. Steps back, and acknowledging that Barnack is the leader here, she looks to him and she says, "Any other surprises?"
Not that I know of. No.
Good. Welcome, Myra. It is, I suppose, nice to meet you. You can see that she's kind of being formal, doesn't really mean it, as she doesn't like surprises in this case.
Nice to meet you as well.
In any case, thank you for the services that you rendered me last night. Your effects, and she points to the corner, and you see that the haversack is already laid out there for you to take, and to retrieve all of your, magical items and things. And the gold is still at the Stormcrow Tavern, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
We only will have a few effects in the haversack. So she points to it. I'll go over. I'll reach in. I'll pull the bottle of gin out.
Mm-hmm.
And I look towards her and I, mind if I pour us a morning cup? They have a very kind of mysterious smile on my face. Seems totally out of place.
Her eyebrows go up, and she seems surprised. She looks over at the man by the window, which you haven't seen her check for anyone else's input or approval before. So this is quite new. But then she nods to you, and pays it no more mind.
So I'll go over to like a table where there are drinks or whatever,
Yeah, there's like a literal drink tray with several beautiful glasses laid out and stuff like that, and scotch, brandy, whiskey, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'll pour it and then I'll just give it like a sniff and a once over to double check if there are any signs of any toxins or poisons.
Okay.
That I might.
I would say in that case, make an Arcana and a Nature check to check for magical and non-magical poisons.
Great, and green for nature, great for Arcana. Arcana is at 25. Nature is at 11.
Okay. You're very sure that there's nothing magically going on with the bottle. For the nature, you don't sniff any particular sense or any indications that the viscosity is fine. Like there's nothing wrong with this bottle of gin, as far as you can tell.
Yeah. So and I look over towards Mara, and she's you said, Chancy, she has like you know, an amulet of some kind or a pendant of some kind.
Yeah, it's under her breastplate though.
Ah, so we don't see it.
Yes, but you can see
Right.
like the obvious chain from it.
Yeah. Is there any like iconography or anything that indicates her, being a cleric?
Not overtly outside
Not
of.
overtly. Okay. All right. I look towards it and I just say then, does anybody have any means of detecting substances that are not meant to be? I procured this and I'm just curious. Like poison or...
I do.
I
All
don't.
right. I kind of over and I look towards that and I say, I actually procured this from the offices of... I hand it over to Barnick, so...
Mhm.
He's just gonna drink it. Yep. I knew it.
Okay.
I just look at... I started speaking to Lady Ellen and then I look at him and I'm like...
Barnack, make a Constitution saving throw.
This is a way to check for poisons if you're in the presence of someone that's important.
You have
what
advantage
I
against
want.
poisons, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So go ahead and make an advantage to Constitution saving throw.
Let me just check Constitution saving throw. That should be okay, right? Ah, not really. Okay, +2. Still 19.
It's very good, very tasty stuff.
Do I detect any kick, poison?
No, nothing of the kind that you detect.
I don't really detect anything. It's very tasty though.
Gentlemen, can we get to the point? And you see Elena is kind of leaning back against her desk, half standing, half sitting. And she's impatient, clearly.
Yeah, so I look at her, as I was beginning to say, I procured this from the offices of one... what is her name again?
Vista.
Vista, right? Yeah,
Very-
Vista Nendorius. This was a gift that was apparently sent by none other than Lord Bilmont.
She looks over to the window and she gets a look back from the clerk, who actually seems to be taking interest in this conversation. He turns around and she turns back to you. I see. Did you find out what this gift was in thanks for?
Well, with some amount of certainty, but please do keep in mind that this is more insightful thinking than it is 100% accurate based on evidence. But the reason why I took it in the first place is that I unfortunately made a slight slip when breaking into a secret chamber within her desk, so I had to cover my tracks a little bit. Within this compartment, I found several magical scrolls, which I believe would have some answers to our questions, two of which were the spell suggestion, if you're familiar with it, one for the spell known as Mind Blank, and one for the spell known as Modify Memory. The final scroll that I found had traces of magical glyphs, but had been expended. This in and of itself was not sufficient for me to conclude my investigation, so I decided to cross the other two names off my list. And of the remaining two, only Belmont's office seemed to have more to tell. Within it, I found, and I kind of, actually, on the desk, alongside with this bottle of gin and several other items, I found a note that stated, "Thank you for the hard work, B." And when perusing Lord Bilmont's office, I found documents that would, to me, indicate that this was his handwriting with a high degree of certainty. Not only that, but I also found several missives from yourself, but also one missive that indicated mistrust in your husband and questions about whether or not action was necessary to. What was it? It was like to neutralize him or to kind of get. Was it so explicit?
It wasn't that explicit. No, it was just
No.
should we deal with him or not?
Should we deal with him or not? Yeah.
Okay.
And I also was able to see that you, my lady, were apparently on the list to be offered something or to participate in something.
She looks
I will
sideways
watch her
again.
really closely at this one.
She looks sideways again. I think without even needing an insight check, all of you can see that there is definite anger on her face at suspicions being confirmed. But more than that, she looks sideways. You see the clerk, and he moves forward. His face is impassive, but his voice is sort of curious. And he says to her, and to the group as well, Eleanor, it sounds like you were right. They did move against him. You must have found out something. But you still don't know what it was. She just shakes her head. He turns to the group and he says, listen, I know that we are not familiar in the way that you are with Lady Sordenbrand, but I believe that there is opportunity here for us to work together more. It is my belief that there is a greater conspiracy within our government which must be uncovered for the good of all. And unfortunately, we have no reason to believe that our own intelligence services are not involved in this conspiracy. Thus, we must look outwardly for help. Now, Lady Sordenbrand assures me that you are reliable, and from what I have seen and heard so far, I can only trust her judgment in this. But know this. This is a task not like anything that you have worked on before, I believe, or anything that you will work on again. And if it proves that you uncover the truth, it may well topple our government. Are you ready to be involved in such an endeavor?
We'll look towards Barnack.
I'm still holding that rum, and I looked back
Gin.
towards you, Jean-Jacques, and uncovering the truth, getting bad people behind bars or where they belong. I think we've always been ready for that, but Jean-Jacques, how are you feeling about that last bit he said?
Well, I think that government is, or a country is more than its government. When one topples, another takes its place, and it can only be better. Well, not only, but one can hope.
The clerk looks a little amused at those words. Not mockingly, but just that he has thoughts on the topic.
Yeah, I misspoke when I said only, so I was just like, well, let's try and salvage it.
That's good
But-
enough for me.
Yes, and we do have our own reasons to believe that there is a larger conspiracy behind something.
Indeed. Well, I would be curious to find out what makes you believe so. But I will not understate the dangers of what I am asking you to do. In essence, you are joining a conspiracy of its own. And for all intents and purposes, if we fail, we may all end up hanging for it. Not a one of us will be able to escape it if we are not successful in getting to our enemies before they get to us. And right now, we do not know who our enemies are or what they are planning. I will ask you to think on this, Lady Sordenbrand, will be able to provide you with more information. I'm afraid I must be on my way, but I will learn if you have chosen to aid us, to stand on the side of everything that is at least truthful, if not good. And if so, then I'm sure that we will meet again. He looks at the two that have spoken the most so far, Jean-Jacques and Barnack, and he goes to extend a hand to each of you. I will say probably to Jean-Jacques first. And he shakes your hands. And he will pass by the others and just kind of look at each one of you in turn, really catching your eye and watching you closely before he nods and heads out the door. As soon as it slams shut, Elena, you can see her knuckles are white from holding on to the desk, and she just turns away towards the window, and actually she probably snatches the drink out of one of your hands, like if another drink was poured, she just snatches it up, and you just hear her, "Son of a bitch!" and she just takes a very big gulp from the gin that was just offered.
Really hope it's not poison.
Yeah, I take another. I'm
Because that's what I would do. I would poison her.
I'm constantly slowly drinking.
Well, we'll see. But yeah, she kind of turns around and she says, I don't know where to begin. But as Honorable the Clerk said, there is a conspiracy. And we believe it is connected to a proposal for a weapons project that was made during the war by Robert Mortimer. It's his return that has caused us to pick up this conversation again. So, I will fill you in. And as she begins talking, we fade to black. And we'll pick up next week with the next episode. As Lady Sordenbrand will fill you in on the details of this great conspiracy that she believes is present within the government of Postizia.
Oh shit!
So, welcome properly now, Chansey and Myra. Welcome aboard. I know it's as you are aware already, but I know it's a lot of information that always comes through, especially when you start out. So thank you for dealing with us in the way that you have. But I would like to say, I don't have necessarily a very long list of specific questions, but we usually talk after our sessions anyway. So I would like to do that now and just kind of discuss how you guys feel about the session, the closing of the Equinical core. Leaving, Myra joining. So that's kind of really where I wanted to start with core. So last week, I mean, this is a prepared question, but last week you guys saw core arrested and kind of tried very quickly, and in spite of us understanding that this is also partially because Carlos couldn't continue to play, the in-world ramifications and reasons were very real. So how do your characters feel about that? And let's start with Milos. But how does Barnack feel about what he saw?
A bit angry. Barnack feels a bit angry and also a bit, confused as always, but he also, I don't think it hit him yet that being arrested means not seeing your friend. Like, at least he knows that Core got arrested, but it just hasn't been real enough because it was just like a few hours and then one night of sleep and that's it. And then there were other things happening. So I think he'll realize it soon enough.
So he's still expecting Core to kind of just show up.
Kinda, yeah.
Right.
Like that knock on the door for Barnack, that was Core.
That is heartbreaking.
he might have been holding his head. Everyone thought it was from hangover, but it wasn't. It was basically there's no Core.
Oh, okay.
Sad.
On the other hand, Tani, you and Barnack and Core were of course the original three Ashen Hearts. How does Tani feel about losing Core?
despite me not being here in the last episode, I like to think that I was there during the whole discussion.
Yes.
And I'm trying. Well, I can't stop myself from thinking about Core. That's why I brought up his mastiff. That's why I briefly said, "Oh, I miss him." She's trying to tell herself, "We'll see him again. We'll see him again. This isn't the last time we'll see him. He's coming back. He's gonna be okay. He's gonna atone for his sins, but still, they're gonna realize that he's good at its core." Did I nail that?
Very nice. Very nice.
No,
The
but
uncertainty
yeah,
on
I'm
whether or
trying
not
to
you
tell.
nailed it really sealed it.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's trying. She's thinking about him, and she's like, "We'll see him again."
All
And
right.
if it's not soon, still we're gonna take care of his parents
Okay.
and do that.
Okay. And Jean-Jacques.
Well, I think Jean-Jacques is a little bit of a more of a cynic.
Mhm.
So for Jean-Jacques, this is just, and I'll quote the illustrious Amos Burton in this one, and this is just the turn.
Okay.
You know, Core's past caught up with him. It's it's a shame Jean-Jacques liked Core, but it's one of those things where he believes this was the end of the road for him. You know, his past caught up, and it's just one of those things like you tried too hard, you tried too much, and now you're gonna go back and you're gonna get executed or something. You know, he that's I think the way that his mind was going.
Yeah.
You know, it's like deal with it right now, put it aside, and just continue on because this is what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
Nicola's obviously different, but just
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, I asked about the characters. Yeah. Well, I mean, these things happen. But we'll see if the Ashen Hearts are at least presented the opportunity to do something about it. So I'm sure we'll find out more. In the meantime, we of course have a new character, and I just want to know, what is it like to join Chansey? Like, what are your impressions? What does it feel like? What stands out so far?
I'm excited. It's really hard to stay on mute the whole time when they're in the party finding information that like piques my notes, and I'm like, what?
Yeah. And
Hate it.
what are you looking forward to the most? Or actually, did you watch any of the previous episodes by any chance?
I watched 6, 7, and part of 7.5.
Oh yeah. So were you particularly excited to meet any specific characters out of this group? Or to see anything particular happen?
I mean, all of them. Like, I'm excited to meet all of them. Just like this session alone, like Barnack. I hate him and I love him at the same time.
I do too.
Who decided to make him the leader?
He did. That's
He
the
did.
thing. He did.
And we kind of went along with it.
They all just agreed. He's the leader now.
Why are you
Yeah.
encouraging this behavior?
Okay, cool. And again, welcome aboard, of course. Question from the chat is for Kira. Tani doesn't often show her passion. Is she holding back, or does it take time to come to the surface?
That's a great question. And I was pondering for a while. Sometimes, how do I say it? In a world where it's a little bit confusing to her, some details here and there, a little bit about the politics, she doesn't quite master it like she sees Jean-Jacques or Turnock doing. In a world full of uncertainties, one thing she does, or she is certain about, is her friends and the people she knows about, and she tries to hold on to that because of her past, because she doesn't remember. So she remembers Finn, she remembers Myra, now that she was like, oh, I hadn't thought about Myra all these years, now she's back, oh yes, I know her, I trust her, and I trust these people too. And so question is is she holding back, or does it take time to come to the surface? And I would answer, just as her ideas sometimes are brewing and come to the surface randomly sometimes, or she's pondering about one detail that might not be important, but she's like really puzzling over that because she really wants to understand. She does hold back, I feel like, especially during these political things. She knows that, okay, maybe she should stay quiet, she should behave, because maybe something she says will sound dumb, and she doesn't want to sound dumb. She wants to be smart. But whenever the topic of friends come up, her passions do flare up. Yes. So it is brewing, and it does flare up.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah, I mean, I think it's really interesting. You know, I think also really cool just that we get to see more facets of all of our characters now. Now that we have had some time, and also now that you guys have more information to kind of play off of. So I'm definitely interested in seeing more of that, and I'm also really curious to see how Tani deals with the rest of her past, especially, of course, now that Myra is here as well. I think it's becoming ever more interesting. I wanted to ask Barnak, what did Barnak have any goal or plan in mind beyond take the notes that say the Scarlet Rose sends their regards, or was that
Yes.
the plan?
No, the plan in general, the plan was to get to suspicious people
Mm-hmm.
and somehow slip them a note, either by having a waiter bring them a drink and there's a note below the drink or something. But at the same time, that's a bit too clever for Barnack, like just thinking about that. So he was constantly thinking of how to give notes to suspicious people and not getting any proper ideas. And in the end, he was going to just grab a handful of them and just put them in random carriages and see what happens in the end. But there were no real carriages there, like that's why I asked you that.
Right.
The most important part was to give a few of those notes to people that we suspected of either having connections to Scarlet Rose,
Mm-hmm.
or doesn't matter, to have, let's say, an easier way to realize, well, to have an easier way to find out if they are actually connected or not.
Okay.
Because let's face it, most of these people know who Scarlet Rose, not like who Scarlet Rose is, but they know of Scarlet Rose.
Yeah.
And if I didn't have any connection to them, let's say I was there, I was a politician there, and I got a note that said Scarlet Rose sends their regards, I would be like, I'm out of here, or like, guards, please escort me home or something. So by doing that, I would know that they are not the ones, or rather, I'm not the one that has any connections there.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
But Barnack couldn't actually think of a good plan to do that. So he was hoping someone more clever would help him, but everyone that's clever destroyed those papers.
Okay. Fair enough. Does Barnack have any thoughts about maybe that means that the plan wasn't as good as he thought? Or does that not enter into his mind?
Oh no, there's
Okay.
no, the plan failed. He still has say 6 papers. He'll make more.
I felt like I had to ask, but I already knew the answer as well.
Yeah.
There was zero chance that there was any form of lesson learned.
Nope.
So let's do 2 more questions. So one from Simon. Question for Chansey. Barnack and Tani represent chaos, and Jean-Jacques / Turnock represent calm/authority. Which side do you think Myra will go?
Oh, I mean, just from you said, we were gonna be something nice, that I was an agent of chaos last night in the chat. Myra just wants to protect the people she's around, so she'll just follow whoever, and most likely end up with the chaos crew, because they're gonna be the ones most likely getting in trouble that she's gonna need to protect.
Okay. So she's gonna sort of be their guardian angel to.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, she's gonna do the no, wait, stop, and watch it unfold.
Oh god, that's gonna be, the rest of the party is just gonna be like, Myra, can you watch over them? And then it's gonna be like, yeah, sure. And then everything
I'm
goes
gonna
to
be
shit.
the worst babysitter ever.
Does
They're
that
most
mean
likely gonna come back alive, but
that... Holy shit.
Probably.
Does that mean that Barnack and Tani will have more chances for chaos now?
Oh no.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I think at some point, Jean-Jacques and Turnock will have to either embrace it or find a way to stop it altogether.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I had one more question, which is, what are to Jean-Jacques? What are his thoughts about what happened last week regarding Esme, especially because this week he kind of did the whole like passing through at least her eye line, and obviously they haven't actually interacted directly. So what are his thoughts both before and after everything that's happened?
He is, I think, most of all, very intrigued
Okay.
because I think from his memory, and we talked about this, it's been sort of like decades since the two of them were an item. I think he remembers her as this kind of haughty, you know, I get everything that I want, spoiled girl.
Yeah, but also kind of innocent in a way, right? I think that's
Yeah,
what we talked about.
yeah. So he was very surprised seeing her in a situation where she seemed to be orchestrating this whole exchange between, you know,
Okay.
the Republic and
Did that change his view of her at all, or does it, you know, make him interested again in at least meeting her again?
I think it's definitely piqued his interest because when he first heard about her from Turnock, he was probably like, "Oh fuck no, no, no," and then he saw her and he was like, "Huh, interesting." I wouldn't say that it's reached any levels of, you know, like being romantically interested or anything like that right now, but it's definitely given her a different dimension than he was used to, and he's like, he would definitely like to have a conversation with her.
Okay.
Probably while her husband there, just, you know.
Sure, just to be sure.
An honest conversation, yeah. But he's definitely like kind of, just it piqued his interest a little bit, which is why he wanted to, like, yo, what's up? I'm here, kind of thing. Like, not really, you know, initiate anything, but just so you know, I'm here. Yeah.
Okay.
So if we run into each other, we can have a conversation.
Okay.
Which also means I'll be around somewhere that you frequent completely accidentally at some point.
As you do.
As you do.
All right. Very cool. So yeah, I think that concludes us for the week. Thank you guys so much for playing. For the stream, I'm gonna go send a raid over to one of our tabletop TV streamers. So please hang out if you can. We are gonna do a little saying hello. And that is going to be the Roleplayers Guild. So please make sure to hang out and tell them that we sent you. That is /raid the Roleplayers Guild. But in the meantime, thank you guys so much for watching, and to my players, of course, for playing. And we'll see you next week with the next episode of Tales of Edeah. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Yeah.